Well, this would be a special birthday video coming at you about the book of Acts. This is our son JR's 27th birthday, September 23rd. And we've got a good day planned for him and a good weekend. Lots going on at the church. And if you're seeing this and received a one call now about a really good thing going on at the church tomorrow, good announcement, be there for that. If you're part of our church family, be in worship tomorrow for sure. Good announcement. This is the last of my videos for the book of Acts. It's been 28 chapters. It's taken 8 weeks to go every other day. 28 times 2 is 56, so even a retired art teacher can do that math. But anyway, chapter 28. I'm going to share with you verses 11 through 22 today, and then verses 23 to 31 tomorrow from the pulpit. And this is about Paul getting to Rome. And this is where the book of Acts will leave off. So, verse 11 in chapter 28. It says, "After 3 months, we sailed in an Alexandrian ship whose figurehead was the twin brothers, which had wintered at the island. And landing at Syracuse, we stayed 3 days. From there, we circled round and reached Rhegium. After 1 day, the south wind blew, and the next day we came to Puteoli, where we found brethren and were invited to stay with them 7 days. And so we went toward Rome. And from there, when the brethren heard about us, they came to meet us as far as Appii Forum and 3 Inns. When Paul saw them, he thanked God and took courage. Now when we came to Rome, the centurion delivered the prisoners to the captain of the guard, but Paul was permitted to dwell by himself with the soldier who guarded him. And it came to pass after 3 days that Paul called the leaders of the Jews together. So when they had come together, he said to them, 'Men and brethren, though I have done nothing against our people or the customs of our fathers, yet I was delivered as a prisoner from Jerusalem into the hands of the Romans, who, when they had examined me, wanted to let me go because there was no cause for putting me to death. But when the Jews spoke against it, I was compelled to appeal to Caesar. Not that I had anything of which to accuse my nation. For this reason, therefore, I've called for you to see you and to speak with you, because for the hope of Israel I am bound with this chain.' Then they said to him, 'We neither received letters from Judea concerning you, nor have any of the brethren who came reported or spoken any evil of you. But we desire to hear from you what you think. For concerning this sect, we know that it is spoken against everywhere.'" So here's Paul in Rome, and we know that the charges against him have been baseless, with the very exception of the fact that the Jews did not want to hear one of their very own, a Pharisee in training, speak of this new way, this Christianity. Now you would think that as a well-read Jew that you would want the fulfillment of prophecies, the coming of the Messiah, to be celebrated and to be trumpeted everywhere. But that wasn't the case, was it? So Paul, they handed him from one imprisonment to another, and not just him. All the disciples went through their travails, either martyred or attempted to be martyred, all of them. And right here near the end of the book of Acts, we're only 9 verses from the end of the entire book. We have Paul once again in prison. Tomorrow morning, like I said, I'll share the end of chapter 28, and that's not the end of Paul's story. That's not the end of the Acts of the Apostles. It's just the end of what Luke chronicled in this book that he wrote to Theophilus. So we know that Paul did more, and he probably traveled more and went further, but we also know that he eventually comes back to Rome, where he met his fate. But here, he's ready to speak to the Jews, and he knows that the Christianity has been disparaged by everybody, but he has to speak it anyway. He has to speak it. He has to speak truth, even though he knows where it's going to go. He knows where it's going to lead. He knows that his head will end up on the chopping block. And I want to encourage you all, because I know that sometimes when you speak truth, when you speak the gospel to your family, to your coworkers, to your running buddies, whoever, they want your head on a chopping block too. They're not really always thrilled to hear it, and I know that. We've experienced that too, and it's part of the deal. If it was easy, then probably everybody would do it. I mean, there's very little way that you could argue against Christianity if it was easy, except for the fact that we love and embrace evil as human beings. We want to sin, we want to do what we want, and we want to make ourselves into God. Other than that, it's great, right? So join us as we are on this journey together. We'll be at the chapel tomorrow morning, 11 o'clock. We got 10 o'clock choir. We got 2 softball games, weather permitting, at 1:30 and 2:30 at Harry Hill. We got a busy Sunday, and we have a really good time together. I mean, this is a church family that people are glad to see one another, and it's hard to break everybody up during our fellowship time halfway through the service, because they would probably just as soon hug on each other and talk about the week as they would sit and listen to me pontificate about the Bible. But be there. We have a great time, and you're welcome to come with us.